Hello and welcome to this episode of Eduleader Focus. We have with us today Ms. Suprabha Menon. She is the principal of the Vadodara-based Navrachana School in Sama. She comes with 30 years of experience in the educational field and has been associated with several schools in Gujarat and Rajasthan. She has been with the Navrachana School for 18 years, first as its coordinator and as its principal for the past 4 years. An MA in political science, she passionately advocates democracy in the classroom as well as the workspace. She believes her role as a leader is to create an environment that is competitive yet collaborative. She has participated in several public dialogues on education, and her pursuit of excellence has led her to being awarded the Samagra Shiksha Empowering India Award and the India Inspirational Women's Award in 2020. Welcome, Ms. Menon. It's a pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Given the long disruption, does it feel like you're starting afresh in this new academic year? And what were the challenges that you faced while you began the year?
See, in Gujarat, we started in a very in a step-by-step manner. So it began with the voluntary attendance. So all schools, all of us had to enable the blended learning mode. So the first challenge for us as a school was to make sure that we had the infrastructure to carry out blended classrooms. Also, our teachers took some time to adjust to this mode because they were used to either offline teaching or online teaching. So blended mode was something new for them. That was challenging. Getting numbers in was another challenge because for a long time, parents were reluctant. There was fear. So they didn't want to send their children to school. So once the government made it compulsory, the offline classes, then came the next challenge, putting nitty-gritties in place. Parents needed the help of the school even for managing transport because as we all know, during the pandemic, people changed profession. A lot of areas, a lot of profession or a lot of services were disrupted. So getting van services or bus services itself was a challenge. So we had to handhold there. So in April, finally, we fully started. And luckily, after that, things have been smooth.
So have you noticed the extent of learning loss amongst the children? And what have you all done about it to bridge this gap?
Definitely, there is, palpable attention deficit to start with among children. So once they were back in the classroom, it was very difficult for children to settle down and sit for long duration. A 30-minute class or a 40-minute class was very, very challenging for children, especially the younger ones. The second area where children had really, lost was their writing practice. So when they came back, it was again very difficult for them to take down notes, to complete their notebook work. So that is something that we have had to really work on, and we are still working on.
Do you think that schools have needed to or need to actually rework their student-centered pedagogies post the pandemic?
No. Today, more than ever before, we need to be student-centered. The learning curve is very lopsided as a result of the pandemic. Different environment, different motivation levels, different attention being given at home have brought in this lopsided learning. So there is more of a need today to pay that undivided individual attention to children, to customize our teaching to suit the different levels at which we received children back.
So how are you doing that as a school?
See, as a school, we do a lot of diagnostic assessments. So we look at our teachers very closely, look at how the child is progressing. And as per the requirement of the child, we use different pedagogies in the classroom. Sometimes it could, a very important topic is dealt with only through activities because that is how most children we feel are receiving it. So we keep on customizing as per the requirement. So 2 sections of a class also may be taught in a different manner depending on how the children are receiving and how are they responding.
So, in this year, what are your expectations? What are you hoping to achieve by the end of this academic year?
Activities, sports, stage performances. These play a very important role in molding a child holistically. And we as a school, as Navrachana School, we believe in holistic development of the child. For us, these activities are the cornerstone of our academic program.
I believe your school was very active in community activities also during the pandemic. So, are you all continuing some of those activities now? Or how are you all planning to go about?
So we have this very interesting program called Navrachana, which operates from our premises, and it caters to children from underprivileged background. So during the pandemic, we made all efforts to start online classes for these children as well. So the biggest challenge then was where do we get the devices from? Most of them did not have any wherewithal or devices at home. So then we spoke to our children. A lot of them came forward. They donated devices. They also raised money. Our children did that. So the online program could continue for the Navrachana children as well. Now that school has started, the Navrachana children are also back in school. So getting books for them, getting uniforms for them, our children are very actively involved in it, and we're getting a good response from the community as well.
Okay. We know that schools did take up extra steps to help students cope with the mental and emotional stress during the pandemic. So have you got a framework in place for the school even post-pandemic?
We made sure that the counseling services were available to children and parents. One-to-one counseling was happening, and the counselors were available for not just the working hours of the school, but beyond that. And then we also had an inbuilt life skills program scheduled in the timetable, where group counseling was happening, and the counselors and the teachers were working on the essential life skills. So we are continuing the same. Now that school is reopened, we are again offering our counseling services to individual children. The remediation program is in place for children who are academically backward. During the pandemic, the very glaring, let's say, problem was the conflict between the parent and the child.
Oh,
because the parents' role had changed during the counseling. They were expected to also be the authority figure as far as the schooling of the child is concerned. So that led to some amount of conflict between the parent and children. So for that, there are parents who approached us wanting help in sorting out things between them and their children. Oh, they do approach us, and yes, they are also concerned about the academic backwardness. Some cases of children, the inability of children to cope up with offline school now. So they do approach us regularly, and our services are available.
All right. Now a little about yourself. What is your philosophy of education?
Education should be empowering for all in every sense, right? It must prepare children to embrace diversity and to embrace the idea of equality of all, right? It also should equip children with life skills, and that it should be able to foster that, let's say, hunger for learning and enjoyment of learning.
What is your idea of leadership?
I believe in empowering my team, giving them all facilities that are required for them to be confidently coming forward with their ideas and making those ideas into reality.
If there's one thing that you could change about the Indian education system, what would it be?
Education has to build life skills. So therefore, Indian education system, they should take its focus away from marks and the board examination. Some changes are definitely coming in, and with the NEP, there is this optimism, that we are heading towards a change, a positive change.
How do you unwind or de-stress yourself?
I am a reader. I love to read. I love to spend time with my friends and in school with children especially. In school, my biggest stress buster is just a little chat that I have with children. So I meet them in my office, I meet them in the hallways, in the ground, outside. Sometimes I step out and play with them.
You've been in the teaching profession for 30 years, but I still ask you, if not a teacher, is there anything else that you would prefer?
You know what uh, excites me is a travel blogger's life. You know, you get to travel the world and you get to write about it, share your experience with people. Yeah, I would like to be a travel blogger.
All right. Thank you so much. It was very interesting speaking to you and listening to you.
It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Okay. Thank you so much.
And Education World is doing a great job. I wish you all the best.